괜찮아, 그렇죠? 네?
집이야 진짜. 그래도 얘는 너무 싫은데.
너무 긴장하지 마시고 어깨 힘 빼고.
What could possibly be the problem here? What's causing Ione so much stress is nothing more than a cucumber. It is the smell of cucumbers that she particularly detests.
오이 향만 안 나면은 먹을 수 있겠다고. 근데 향이 너무 강해서.
Even this tiny piece of cucumber is too much for her to swallow. For the past 10 years, Ione has been unable to eat cucumbers, and every effort has resulted in severe vomiting and a trip to the emergency room. After a 20-minute struggle, just when the producers are about to give up, Eune composes herself, closes her eyes, and puts it in her mouth.
어때요? 숨 쉬지 말고 코로 막고 있어. 그냥 삼키고 우유.
괜찮으면 안 돼? 냄새 어떡해.
코 막고 있어요.
In the end, Ione fails in her attempt to eat the cucumber. Where does the mind originate from? We are about to embark on a new journey of exploration. For a long time now, the human mind has been thought to have originated from the heart. Many people still believe it to be so. Brain activity is the flow of currents in the brain. A sudden problem with this flow of signals can cause the body to have spasms, a condition known as epilepsy. When the brain causes a spasm, the mind not only becomes unconscious, the body becomes uncontrollable. This kind of brain disorder can be caused by both genetic and external factors, such as brain damage. Some people, however, have spasms even though they do not have any kind of brain disorder. We went to investigate.
처음 뵙겠습니다. 안녕하세요. 죄송합니다. 이거 번잡하게. 젊기도 젊으시고 30살이 전혀 안 돼 보이시는데 뭐 고등학생 같아요.
We had consulted about the meeting beforehand, yet Kim Mi-suk still looked extremely nervous.
그냥 좋아졌어요.
많이 좋아지셨어요?
처음에 시도가 그러니까 가짜로 발작하는 게 내가 남을 해치지 못하잖아요. 그렇죠? 그러니까 참는데 내 한계점이 이만큼 다 달았어요. 근데 내가 여기서 이상한 짓을 하면 남한테 피해를 주니까 피해 안 주는 방법이 나한테.
스스로한테 괴롭히는 거?
네. 그거예요.
At this point in the interview, Misuk began to act a little strange.
근데 더 물어볼 거는요?
깰 때는 기분이 어떠냐고.
깰 때. 지우가 해봐. 그래서 지쳐서 자서 깬 다음에 아무렇지도 않아.
깰 때는 그냥 보통 깨듯이 그냥.
Misuk's hands begin to stiffen.
근데 몸이 그동안 이렇게 엄마
어머님.
예.
어떻게 드려요?
약 먹었나? 네. 대야. 대야? 괜찮아. 머리.
지금은 상황이 나한테 위험해, 내가 위험하다고 판단이 되잖아요. 얘가.
네.
그러면 나는 이게 뭐 어떻게 말을 하면 될지 모르겠지만 얘가요 그걸 판단을 해가지고요 여기한테 보내나 봐요. 그럼 나도 모르게 느껴져요 그게. 좀 이상하다. 좀 그리고 나서 반응이 또 오는 게 이게 굳어버린다. 이런 생각도 있어요. 복수심이라고 그러죠. 왜냐면 내가 이 사람을 아프게 하지 못하니까. 나는 공격받았는데 그것도 정신병인 것 같은데요. 그러면 뭐가 있을까 생각을 했어요. 그래서 자아 스타일이 발전됐고 내가 아프면 저 사람도 아프네 그런 생각도 있었어요.
내가 아프면 저 사람도 아프네 이렇게요?
그러니까 이런 거 있잖아요. 만약에 부인이나 딸이나 만약에 나처럼 발작을 한다 그러면 아프겠죠. 마음이 걱정되고 아프고 내가 이 사람 때리는 것보다 내가 맞는 것보다 더 아프겠죠. 그거요.
괜찮아. 대야. 대야.
Misuk begins to have a fit in front of the camera. In our eyes, her condition seemed no different from any other patient with epilepsy. Yet, her brain is completely normal. It is clearly different from that of a patient with epilepsy caused by a brain tumor. Her brain waves are also completely normal. No epileptic brain waves were discovered.
환자는 그런 것들을 얻음으로써 심리적인 안정을 얻고자 하는 주변들로부터 관심을 받고 또는 어떤 애정 결핍이나 이런 것들을 보상받으려고 하는 그런 면들이 있기 때문에 그런 증상을 보이는 거고 그런 것들이 가성간질에서 우리가 진성간질과 감별할 수 있는 그런 면들이 됩니다.
What could be the reason for her self-produced symptoms? They began when she was in elementary school.
저도 보따리도 몇 번 쌌어요. 살려고. 근데 제가 부모 없이 가가지고 예식장에 아버지 손 잡고 들어가려고 그 결심으로 살았거든요. 아버지 때문에도 많이 받았어요. 참 말을 안 하고 성격이 쾌활하지 않으니까 그게 병이 된 거예요. 아기 때부터.
The seizures seem to be Misuk's way of coping with her unhappy reality. Perhaps what she really needs is tender, loving care, which leads to the question of just how much influence affection can have on our bodies. Our objects of study are these rabbits. First, the 2% cholesterol food is prepared. It is the equivalent of eating 4 kilograms of bacon. The food is to be fed to the rabbits for 5 weeks. The rabbits are divided into 2 groups. One group fed while being held, stroked, and treated with other signs of affection. The other group is harassed with the sounds of wild beasts and is subject to other means of distress. After the first week, even the rabbits from the affection group are still wary and unwilling to be held.
잤어.
'The rabbits from the stress group are anxious from the sounds of wild beasts. They are surrounded by loud banging noises while being fed, and even restricted in special cages. Four weeks later, these rabbits have been fed the exact same food. Yet unlike the affection group, 4 of the 8 rabbits in the stress group had blocked blood vessels, turbid corneas, and other disorders of the eye.
지금 스트레스군에서만 더 나타난 건 이제 콜레스테롤이 동맥의 벽에 침착되면서 혈관이 더 빨리 막히게 되는 거죠. 그래서 시간적으로 더 빨리 그리고 더 심하게 그런 막힘 현상이 나타나는 걸로 생각됩니다.
2 of the rabbits suffered from glaucoma, which, if left untreated, would result in a complete rupture of their eyeballs. Meanwhile, none of the symptoms found in the stress group were discovered in the affection group.
도망가는 거냐? 귀여워. 귀여워. 착해.
These rabbits are no longer wary of humans and are eager to be held. They have healthy appetites. 5 weeks later, compared with the fatty liver of the stress group, the affection group liver is relatively clean. It is an entirely different color. These are the rabbit's arteries. Although they were fed the same amount of cholesterol, the fatty artery walls of the stress group are in stark contrast to the affection group's relatively clean arteries.
콜레스테롤 중에서 이제 저밀도 지단백이라고 있는데 그것이 산화되면서 동맥에 침착되면서 이제 동맥경화가 만들어집니다. 근데 그 부분에서 친밀감을 주면 아마도 산화되는 저밀도 지단백이 줄어들 거라고 생각이 들고 또 그 저밀도 지단백이 산화된 다음에 동맥에 가서 침착되는 과정을 친밀감이 예방하는 것으로 그렇게 판단이 됩니다.
An affectionate and warm heart has caused a substantial change. However, this does not only apply to rabbits. For those of us living in an increasingly cold-hearted modern society, this is a significant discovery.
이름이 뭐예요? 어디 사세요? 지금 기분이 어떠세요? 네? 긴장돼요? 자기 모습이 어떻게 나오는지 알아요? 더 크게 쫙 한번 벌려보세요. 하품. 하고 정면으로 돌아보세요.
This is what we are inside, what we look like without our outer surface.
옆으로 돌리고요. 좀 전같이. 예, 좋습니다. 담으시고요.
We eat, drink, digest, and excrete.
삼키세요.
조정되는데 시간이 걸리거든요.
Our basic behavior for life sustenance differs little from that of animals.
그 천천히 내려가면 괜찮나요?
근데 음식 내려가는 걸 맞춰서 내리다 보니까 빨리 내려가지고. 네, 저 맞고 싶었습니다.
Park Yi-sul is in the middle of recounting a bad experience that occurred while she was at work.
막 식은땀 나고 화가 막 나고 그랬어요.
죄송하다고 말씀을 자꾸 드리는데 얼굴 보기도 싫으시다면서 자기를 방해하지 말라고 화를 많이 내셔서 저도 어찌할 바를 모르고 식은땀이 조금 나고요. 속이 좀 더부룩하고 있습니다.
In this way, our bodies are constantly influenced by our minds. In today's information age, anyone can easily access all kinds of information about health. Once this kind of information catches your attention, it is not easy to break free. Interest in one's own health is completely natural. In fact, it is a reaction to being alive. But once it becomes an obsession, it is impossible to break free from it. In severe cases, one can fall under the false belief that they have a disease and even begin a long train of trips to the hospital. We may differ in degree, but all of us suffer to some extent from symptoms of this kind of health anxiety. However, in most cases, a body whose mind is obsessed with health is rarely healthy. Kim Young-min suffered from this kind of obsession a few years ago. These were his hospital records at the time. Already suffering from chronic hepatitis, the shock of his divorce caused his sodium level to rise up to 10 times the normal level. Moreover, he was traumatized by the death of a close friend that was due to liver hardening. Fearing death, he searched the internet and made several hospital visits.
그때 마음 상태는 어땠어요?
뭐 어떻게 마음 표현을 못해요. 그냥 안겨있지 못해요.
죽을까봐 걱정이 되고.
그럼요. 죽으면 어떡하나부터 시작해서 내 몸의 정상이 어떤가, 뭐 모든 게 다 그런 걸 다 비추가 되는 거죠. 그래서 뭐 다리가 붓는다든지, 뭐 몸이 붓는다든지 어떤 증상이 나타나는 것들 있잖아요. 그런 거에 계속 집중을 하게 되는 거예요. 다른 거 전혀 못하고. 그렇게 되더라고요.
마음은 계속 불안하고요.
마음은 계속 불안하고 막 하루 뭐 계속 뒤집어지면서 괜찮을 거야, 아니면 죽을 거야, 괜찮을 거야, 죽을 거야. 그렇게 되더라고요. 그러니까 그냥 뭐 지옥과 뭐 삶과 죽음을 왔다 갔다 하는 거죠. 계속.
With insomnia and depression, psychiatric treatment was sought. What a truly lonely and painful experience it must have been. In this fashion, when we begin to focus on something, not only is it hard to break free from it, we become increasingly obsessed with it. That is how our minds work. There are also people who hate something with a passion. Yoo Eun-hyun, who has a fear of snakes, cannot even bear to look at a photograph.
제 손에 들고 있어요. 그냥 고기 들어서 한번 슬쩍 보면 되잖아요. 손 떼고 릴렉스 하시니까. 눈 감고 계세요. 보셨어요?
만화책 같은 데서 좀 자세하게 뱀에 관해서 이렇게 나오는 만화책 우연히 이렇게 본 게가 있었거든요. 그때 이후부터 좀 많이 싫어졌었던 것 같아요.
Whether it is innate or acquired, this kind of tolerance for something exists because the negative memory of it is strongly ingrained in our minds. All of the things we see in our daily lives. All of the things we hear in our daily lives. All of the things our bodies experience are stored in our brains. They are the materials that create our minds. If so, then how does the brain create the mind? The secret lies in our complex network of nerves. The brain collects information through nerve cells distributed all throughout the body. Each nerve cell is composed of a cell body, an axon, and dendrites. This is the fundamental unit of our minds. The nerve cells continuously exchange information with each other. This occurs at the tip of the neuron, known as the synapse. The exchange of information is achieved through neurotransmitters. The synapse serves as a bridge for free information exchange among the neurons. This is the fundamental working mechanism of our minds. Feelings of happiness and anger. And of course, at times, sadness. The ability to solve problems through thought and calculation. The use of language to express our thoughts and feelings. The consciousness of all these things creates the mind. Consciousness is the awareness of what one is doing. All mental activities within the brain, including abstract notions such as one's relationships with others or self-perception, are the result of synaptic processes. We humans also have the extraordinary ability to reflect on our own thoughts. When someone pinches us or hits us, we feel pain. We may even cry out. It is a momentary incident, yet the synapse immediately transmits the physical stimulus. When we study, the nerve cells in our brain handle the information that enters our eyes through synapses. Even love is a synaptic operation. When we are in love, the neurotransmitter dopamine is produced in the synapse, making us feel happy. It is the same with an athletic event. Even when we watch a soccer match, our brains do not rest. Soccer player Park Ju-young. His astounding talent and game strategy are always enjoyable to watch, and they are the result of neural activity. Even in this moment, the synapses of his brain are working furiously. That is how his split-second decision-making occurs faster than others.
물론 마음이라는 형이상학적인 지고지순한 큰 목표와 시냅스라는 매우 물질적인 그리고 분자 수준의 그 세포의 어떤 그 하부 구조와 사이에는 굉장히 커다란 그 틈이 있다라고 생각이 됩니다. 그렇지만 그 틈 사이에는 시냅스를 통해서 회로가 만들어지고, 그다음 신경세포가 있고, 신경세포들이 모여서 어떤 그 조직을 만들게 되고, 조직은 어떤 시스템을 만들게 되고, 그 시스템들이 상호 연관될 때 결국 우리가 다양한 정신 기능을 만들어낼 수가 있기 때문에 그 단계별로 어떤 수준에서의 그 일들이 벌어지고 있는지 그 메커니즘을 우리가 좀 더 명확하게 이해할 때 그 마음이라는 그런 신비에 쌓인 베일도 어느 정도 해결이 되지 않을까 그런 생각을 갖고 있습니다.
Just as our expressions portray our emotions, our feelings provide a window into our minds. These feelings are also the result of a synaptic process. In the synapses that create our minds, electric stimuli are transformed into chemical signals through neurotransmitters. Serotonin and dopamine are both neurotransmitters. Our minds change according to their secretion levels. Problems occur when too much or too little is secreted. John Learman has suffered from dopamine deficiency.
Yeah, I've abused substances in the past. Yes, certainly. Yes.
What kind?
What kind? Well, all the kinds that there are around. You know, the ones that stimulate the dopamine, like we talked about at the doctor's office.
So when
Cigarettes, alcohol, cocaine, like this. These are the classic ones because they stimulate levels of dopamine. They give you the euphoria. It gives your brain energy.
And you feel better.
You feel different.
Different.
You know, eventually you feel bad again, you see? Because what it is it's triggering a cycle of raised levels and then much lower levels.
Once the body adjusts to a higher level of dopamine, it cannot tolerate a decrease. That is why it becomes a habit, requiring increasing amounts of neurotransmitters. This is the principle of addiction. Addiction can be a part of our daily lives. One recently emerged social issue is shopping addiction. Addiction to plastic surgery is another. They all operate on the same principle.
지금까지 여러 회 걸쳐서 이렇게 하셨잖아요. 어디?
코만 두 번.
코만 두 번? 딴 데는?
코하고 보톡스.
또요?
보톡스 말고 쌍꺼풀.
그거예요?
응.
가슴.
가슴 등.
이야기할 때마다 하나씩 하시네. 가슴 말고 딴 데는 없어요?
네.
그러면 뭐 여러 회에 걸쳐서 하셨는데 왜 그 성수술 하셨어요? 얼굴이 예쁘신데 더 예뻐지시려고요?
그러니까 뭐 하나 할 때마다 사람들이 달라지잖아요. 보는 시선이. 그러니까 처음에 하고 나서는 이제 다시는 하지 말아야지만 무서우니까 그런 생각 드는데 또 하고 지나면은 또 잊어버리고 그리고 누가 뭐 어떤 연예인이 뭐 하고 나왔다 그러면은 부러우니까 또 너무 예쁘니까 또 하고 싶고 그냥 그렇게 되는 것 같아요.
한국도 다니고 여러 군데 이렇게
그래서 이제 좀 더 완벽했으면 아 이게 좀 아쉬운데 그런 마음에서 하는 것 같아요.
그래서 나중에는 할 게 없으면 한 거를 또 하게 돼요. 또. 그러니까 자기가 스스로 그 수술이 나쁘다는 걸 찾는 거예요. 억지로. 그러니까 뭐 턱을 깎았는데 뭐 객관적으로는 비교적 잘 깎였는데 자기 생각에 좌우가 조금 다르다든지 뭐 누구처럼 안 됐다 해서 억지로 다음 수술거리를 찾는 경우도 있죠.
Okay, so
Elaine Young is a plastic surgery addict.
you some pictures before and after and
Even before plastic surgery, she would have been considered very attractive. Yet, she has had 49 procedures done up until now.
insecurity growing up in Beverly Hills, California, where the competition is so fierce. We look at the television and the women are beautiful. The men here are like really young, beautiful women. And I was told by my parents that I was fat, ugly, and would never amount to anything. So my whole life, and I've been married 6 times, but I always thought if I were beautiful, that I could get another boyfriend, another husband. And every time I got a divorce, I got another plastic surgery. Insecurity made me do it. And now it's possible I'm totally addicted to it.
It's a little bit hard right now, but that's going to get...
Having completed her 49th procedure 2 weeks ago, she is already planning her 50th. Every time a new surgical method is developed, she wants to be the first to try
What I
it.
want you to do is actually come in tomorrow morning. She may be addicted. However, she has what is called a body dysmorphic disorder. She has a problem with her image. She constantly tells me she's disfigured and she's ugly and she wants to look better. So her goal in life is to look better.
Had a psychological test? No. I know exactly what I'm doing. I went to Dr. Lee a month ago and I asked him for liposuction. You know what that is?
Yeah.
And he said no, because he'd done it twice already on me. And I gained the weight back again. So he said no, he wouldn't do it. He turned me down. But I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't need a psychological evaluation.
The brain is composed of neurons and synapses. The brainstem is responsible for the functions that keep us alive, such as respiration and blood pressure. The amygdaloid body is related to feelings such as fear or panic. The hippocampus plays an important role in our memory. All information, with the exception of smell, must pass through the thalamus. The cerebellum helps each part of our bodies to cooperate with one another. The left side of the brain is responsible for language and logical reasoning. The corpus callosum serves as a bridge between the right brain and the left brain. The right brain reacts sensitively to any irregularity. The cerebral cortex is composed of 4 lobes and 2 regions responsible for motor and sensory integration. We still have much to learn about the activity of the brain. Our existing knowledge only covers about 10%. Neuroscientists claim that without the brain, the mind cannot exist. If that is the case, then by changing the synaptic network, can we change our minds? In the room of world-famous brain scientist Dr. Jose Delgado, there are pictures of animals with something on their brains. There is even a picture of a person who had a head operation.
No. Nothing is in the brain. Everything is underneath of the scalp.
Underneath the skull.
Yeah, underneath of the scalp, and then with electrodes going to the brain. But now I have even something even newer, which this I don't have. No, I don't have. Which is the electromagnetic waves.
It's like TMS.
With this, from the outside, you can go inside of the brain.
From the 1950s, Jose Delgado has attempted to change the mind by stimulating the brain. Electrodes are placed under the scalp and then controlled with a remote control. This was the famous controlled behavior study of a bull. The angry bull was anesthetized, and then electrodes were placed in his brain. The angry bull ran towards Professor Delgado and then stopped at his feet. Through the electrodes, his desire to attack was suspended. The experiment with monkeys had the same result. The angry monkeys immediately became quiet.
Is everything inside of my brain inside here? Yes, it is. But I would like to know how each element modify my behavior, my thinking, and this is why trying to investigate my own personality, I was so interested to investigate monkeys and cats and dogs and animals because their brain is very similar to mine. And that's why, yes, I'm very interested to know how the human brain works, but I cannot experiment with the human brain, and therefore I must go to the animal brain. And they will give me, well, some answers about how humans think, yes.
So what did you find?
Oh, many things. For example, we found the motor areas, the areas that will express love or hate or pain or pleasure or many things.
Professor Delgado continued to perform animal tests, and as a result was able to discern certain functions of the brain. However, what would happen if a chip were inserted into a human brain?
Thanks, you can't talk to him about that.
Matthew Nagel is the world's first person to have a thought-deciphering chip inserted into his brain.
What are you going to talk to the doctor about?
Formerly an American football player, he was paralyzed by an unfortunate accident.
I go to the diaphragm and the nerve in my neck.
However, he can sit in a wheelchair and turn on the television and even change the channels, just by using his mind.
Whoa, it's over. I'm 25.
This is how it works. When he has a certain thought, the chip inside his brain perceives the waves and sends them to a computer where they are deciphered. The chip is connected to a computer that can control other electrical equipment. As a result, Matthew Nagel can make drawings with his mind and change the channels on his television.
Yeah, it's channel down. Now I'm going to channel up. You know, I could look at the screen and I could control a mouse and go anywhere I wanted to with the mouse, you know. And at the time I thought, that's cool, and everybody was saying I was a pioneer. I didn't really think of it that way. I'm going to close the hand.
Through the electric chip inserted into the motor cortex, this artificial hand can be moved to hold items.
Not bad, man, not bad at all.
And what we've done is we've been able to successfully tap into the brain and read out that message that's coming out, that complex Morse code message that's coming out, and read it out. And what's a big surprise is how straightforward that signal is.
Electric signals from the brain. These are what compose the mind. The inventor of the robot and artificial intelligence and MIT's genius scientist, Professor Marvin Minsky, is also researching the mind. He claims that in 20 years, he will be able to build a machine that is as intelligent as the brain.
Extra accessories to brains. Like when you buy a car, then you buy an air conditioner and you buy radios. And in 50 years from now, people will go to the store and buy extra brain parts. So if you want to speak Chinese, then you'll buy this expensive little computer and attach it to your brain.
So far, we've seen that the mind is the result of brain functions. If so, does the mind only exist in humans? Do animals, such as dogs, also have a mind? Primates have been researched here since the 60s. Since the average lifespan of a chimpanzee is 50 years, they have studied one generation of chimpanzees. This is Professor Matsuzawa, who has studied chimpanzees for over 30 years in hopes of better understanding human behavior. Ai and Ayumu are two of the many chimpanzees being coached by Professor Matsuzawa. The chimpanzees press the numbers on the screen in the correct order. They are quite skilled at it. The reward is 1 day's worth of apples. This time, the other numbers disappear once the first number is touched. They are very much at ease with the process. In this game, the numbers are shown for 0.22 seconds and then disappear. The positions of the numbers change. Would you be able to complete this task? Our producer decided to go up against the chimpanzee. He passed the first game easily. However, the game where the numbers only appeared for 0.22 seconds was different. It was not as easy as it looked. It seems he had underestimated the difficulty of it. He seems to be in over his head.
A few more. Stop. Thank you very much. And it was 38%.
38%.
1/3.
I was, what, how many success rate of I?
I chimpanzee.
Yeah.
I are you today? Well, always 60 to 65%.
But it's, I don't know, it's hard to recognize the four numbers. Some of them is by my guess.
Yes.
Not, I can see all of them.
Yeah, so you need tremendous effort to do this task, but chimpanzee apparently can do it, as you have witnessed. So this simply proves chimpanzee has a very good memory, memorizing things in a very brief period. So there are some gifted human children who can memorize the numerals like chimpanzees.
Does chimpanzees have mind?
Sure, just we have. I have no hesitation to say, and I have lots of evidence to explain each aspect of chimpanzee mind, just like our mind.
Professor Matsuzawa defines the three powers of the mind to be the intellect to recognize objects, the sensitivity to feel, and the will to achieve. He claims that chimpanzees share the human ability to feel. They even have the intelligence to match a color with its Chinese character.
Do chimpanzees have self?
Sure, at least in a rudimental form, like a mirror self-recognition. So it could not happen in dogs. It could not happen in peacocks. I open your mouth.
Many experts believe that humans differ from animals in their awareness of self. Yet chimpanzees can recognize themselves in the mirror.
I do not deny chimpanzee has intelligence, emotion, and maybe will. But I have a doubt whether their minds can reflect their mind. But I'm very much sure our mind can reflect my mind, or even think about your mind. That could be completely different from mine. So our mind can work in this way, hierarchically recursive.
Chimpanzees cannot recognize the fact that they are thinking.
It's all adult, I guess.
Yeah. So the size is smaller.
The brains of humans and chimpanzees may differ greatly in size, but their structure and working mechanisms are similar. However, the human mind has a distinctly unique feature. That is, the power to reflect. Thinking of others. Thinking of what other people are thinking, and being able to think about the fact that one is thinking such things. This is the nature of the human mind. Let us return to Lee-Eun-ae, who we met earlier. For 10 years, she has been unable to eat cucumbers because of the smell.
어때요 지금?
냄새나.
오이가 이제 고추야. 오이가 고추야. 아주 청양고추 매운맛 좋습니다. 아주 청양고추의 매운맛 톡 쏘는 맛, 그죠? 톡 쏘는 맛.
The finger is the remote control of the mind. Lee-Eun-ae has decided on her sister and the taste of hot peppers as her anchoring device. If she starts to smell the cucumber, she presses on her fingers and imagines her sister and the taste of hot peppers.
언니가 환하게 그 모습을 보고 웃고 있네요. 언니가 아주 큰 목소리로 나를 부르고 있네. 그 모습을 보면서. 오이 어디 갔나요? 응? 오이 어디 갔나요?
제가 먹었어요.
먹었어요. 괜찮네 이제 먹어도?
응.
어? 근데 약간은 못 먹는다 했잖아. 거짓말했어요?
약간 냄새가 났어.
지금은?
지금은 냄새 모르겠어.
왜요?
모르겠어.
이상하네. 지금은 냄새 모르겠는 것이 아니고 오히려 청양고추에 톡 쏘는 맛이 있는데? 어? 오히려 청양고추에 톡 쏘는 맛이 있는데?
그냥 칼칼한 된장찌개 맛.
칼칼한 된장찌개 맛. 그럼 실제로 먹을 수 있겠네? 어? 그동안에 뭐 워낙 오랫동안 안 먹어봐서 좀 어색할지는 모르겠어도 뭐 먹어도 될 것 같다, 그죠?
냄새만 안 난다.
냄새만 안 난다면 냄새 뭐 나도 그 어차피 청양고추 맛인데 청양고추 냄새인데 응? 청양고추인데
Will Ione be able to alter her mind?
무슨 냄새?
Being able to get close
그죠?
to a cucumber is an
그죠?
important start.
누가 보고 있어?
언니.
언니.
향이 안 나는 거.
안 나지 당연히. 좀 있으면 이제 된장. 아주 구수한 된장. 그죠? 된장. 이제 한번 먹어봐. 아까 먹어봤잖아 이미. 그럼. 그죠? 아까 먹어봤잖아. 그치? 부드럽게. 그치? 부드럽게.
지금 먹는 게 오이예요, 청양고추예요.
오이. 근데 맛은
향은 오이 향이 안 난다고.
향이 안 나.
이게 이제 마음의 작용인데 마음 자체가 바뀐 거예요. 그러니까 무슨 말이냐면은 이 오이의 향기가 역겹다라는 그 기본적인 마음의 습관이라 그럴까 그게 허물어진 거예요. 허물어지면서 내가 좋아하는 청양고추의 맛과 향기 그것하고 버무려진 거예요. 그러니까 이 자체는 꼭 같은 것이라도 이걸 바라보는 내 마음이 바뀐 거예요. 이걸 바라보는 내 마음이 바뀌었으니까 맛도 달라지고 향기도 달라져 버리는 거예요.
It's fascinating, isn't it? What we have just observed is not a tall tale, but the story of our minds. In this way, our bodies are controlled by the mind that our own brains create.